On today's Smart 7, the FBI investigate New Year's Day attacks, calls for urgency on post office payouts and much more. It's Thursday, 2nd of January, it's World Introvert Day, and happy birthday, Ben Hardy.
The Smart 7. It's news, but
Not the news.
Seven. 2025 started with tragedy in the United States as an attack in New Orleans left at least 15 dead and more than 30 injured early on New Year's Day. There was also an incident which involved a rented Tesla Cybertruck exploding outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, killing the driver and injuring bystanders, which the FBI continue to investigate. In New Orleans, a white pickup truck was driven into a crowd of revelers in the early hours of Wednesday morning on the famous Bourbon Street, resulting in death and injuries. The driver was then killed in a shootout with police, and Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Ann Kirkpatrick, says the suspect, who has been named as US Army veteran 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, was intent on causing maximum damage.
Because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
It's still not clear if the Las Vegas incident was linked, in which a Cybertruck that appeared to be loaded with gas canisters and fireworks exploded directly in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. US President Biden says the FBI continues to investigate, but that the New Orleans suspect had some worrying connections.
Mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle. The situation is very fluid.
2024 began with ITV's drama Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which sparked renewed interest in the long-running Horizon IT scandal, and the issue remained in the spotlight all year as the inquiry continued. However, despite the high-profile campaign, a new report from the Commons Trade and Business Committee says there are still a number of issues outstanding that need to be addressed. Liam Byrne is the Labour chair of the committee.
We think that the Post Office needs taking out of the redress system altogether. We think there needs to be upfront legal advice for victims. And crucially, there needs to be hard deadlines for turning those claims around, with financial penalties on the government if they take too long.
Former Sub-Postmaster Lee Castleton says those waiting for justice are becoming increasingly frustrated by the delays.
You know, if you've got people in the process that are purposefully stopping something happening, remove them. Get them out of the system, replace them with people that have good intentions, get them out of there.
Home Office figures released on Wednesday showed that over 36,000 people crossed the channel in small boats in 2024. That was up slightly on 2023, but down on the 2022 number, which remains the highest on record. 2024 was also the deadliest year for crossings, with at least 77 people known to have died while attempting the journey. The figures came as the chair of the Equalities Committee, Sarah Owens, warned that the Tories' relentless focus on immigration had helped to drive racism and events like the Southport riots. Danny Shaw, a former advisor to Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, says one way or another, a deterrent is still needed to halt the dangerous crossings.
I argue that the only way to do that is to get an effective deterrent, which is basically to say to people, if you come across, you will be sent straight back to France within 48 hours.
New Year's Day saw Ukraine cut off supplies of Russian gas that flowed through its country as a long-standing agreement with Russian energy giant Gazprom expired. It caused immediate concern in both Moldova and Slovakia, but Ukrainian Energy Minister Galushenko called it an historic moment, with Poland's foreign minister welcoming it as a significant victory for Europe. The Christmas period saw more attacks by Russia on the Ukrainian energy network, but also another prisoner exchange with almost 200 Ukrainian prisoners returning home. President Zelensky was sounding a positive note in his New Year's message.
I have no doubt that the new American president wants and will be able to bring peace and end Putin's aggression. He understands that the former is impossible without the latter, because this is not a street brawl where the two sides need to be pacified. This is a full-scale aggression by a deranged state against a civilized one.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, Arsenal get 2025 off to a flying start and the traitors return to BBC One right after this. Welcome back. 3, New Year's Day saw the first Premier League match of 2025, with Brentford hosting Arsenal. After a Christmas season which saw misery for Man United, a win for Man City and stumbles for Chelsea, there was serious pressure on Arsenal to close the gap on Liverpool. They went 1-0 down to Brentford early on, but recovered and picked up all 3 points in a game that finished 3-1 to the visitors. Manager Mikel Arteta was happy to start 2025 on a good note.
Well, we won in a really difficult stadium and against a really good opponent, and you see the record that they have here is incredible. When you go 1-0 down as well, it makes it even harder, but the team showed a lot of composure.
The new series of The Traitors landed on BBC One on New Year's Day, with 25 players ready to do battle for a prize of up to £120,000. As always, while the guests check into the Scottish Highlands Castle, they're under the watchful eye of Claudia Winkleman, and we can expect plenty of backstabbing as the faithful try to work out who the traitors are. There were plenty of dramatic twists even in episode 1, and we bid farewell to the traitor's first victim, Yin, a communication scientist who seemed like a real character.
But I have enjoyed every hemi, demi, semi-quaver of this experience so far, as short as it has been. It's like a mayfly or a lunar moth, which is a famous moth that lives for only one day but shines very brightly and then is extinguished.
2024 saw a number of notable deaths, including Maggie Smith, James Earl Jones, John Prescott, and of course Liam Payne. The Christmas period saw several more big names pass away, including Paddy Hill of the Birmingham Six and former US President Jimmy Carter. Carter had celebrated his 100th birthday in October, and the former Nobel Prize winner died peacefully at home in Georgia. His funeral will take place over several days next week, with both incoming President Trump and outgoing President Biden expected to attend. Biden paid tribute to the one-term Democrat president as the news broke.
America and the world, in my view, lost a remarkable leader. He was a statesman and humanitarian. And Jill and I lost a dear friend.
Radio 2 favourite Johnny Walker also passed on New Year's Eve, having retired in October due to ill health. He spoke about his impending death in his final interview and was keeping his trademark sense of humour right to the end. Rest in peace, Johnny.
I'm not worried about dying, and I have great belief in an afterlife. Dying from fighting for breath, I don't know how that's going to be. What we need really is somebody to come in here with give me the chest infection and knock me out.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.